Hello everyone and welcome to the Literacy Central Science tutorial. This is Meghna and today we are going to talk about natural resources and this is part 2. So let's dive in. So as we talked about natural resources in our previous tutorial, we all now know that ever since the earth was inhabited, humans and other life forms have depended on things that exist freely in nature to survive. These things include, as we all know, water from seas and fresh water, land, soils, rocks, forest, vegetation, animals, including fish, fossil fuels, and minerals. They are called natural resources, and these are the basis of life on Mother Earth. All of these are natural, or in other words, they exist in nature. No human created them. We can define these resources as something that is found in nature that is useful to humans. So before we move forward, let's revise the types of natural resources. As we know now that we can categorize these natural resources into two main types, renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources like plants and animals, and non-renewable resources, for example minerals, fossil fuels, and soils. So before we move forward, let's talk about some important renewable natural resources. First of all, we all know is solar energy. Greatest natural resource. Our planet receives in a single hour the same amount of energy from the sun that the entire world's population uses in 1 year. Wind energy. Wind energy was among the first resources harvested by us to improve our livelihood. Then water. Water is one of the most important resources on our planet. Life without water would not be possible at all. Hydropower. It can be generated for as long as river water keeps flowing, and any water spent in a process is always recycled back to produce more electricity. Then air. We all depend on the air we breathe. Even our industrial processes depend on the excess of oxygen as a catalyst to chemical reactions. Then comes soil, another important renewable resource. Major natural processes like decomposition and nutrient cycling replenish our soils in sustainable ways. And animals. As superior as it may sound, the animals we breed and manage their populations to get some products from them represent a renewable resource as well. And what are some of the important non-renewable natural resources? One of the major one is fossil fuels, which derives from organic matter which has been trapped between layers of sediments within the earth for millions of years. These deposits and the materials produced from them tend to be highly combustible, making them a potent energy source. Crude oil and petroleum, major non-renewable resource that build up in liquid form between the layers of the Earth's crust. It is generally retrieved by drilling into the ground and ocean floor and pumping the liquid out. The liquid is then refined and used to create many different products. Natural gas. Natural gas gathers below the Earth's crust and like crude oil must be drilled for and pumped out. Methane and ethane are the most common types of gases obtained through this process. Other than this is a very common important non-renewable resource is coal, fossil fuels created by compressed organic matter. It is solid like rock and is obtained via mining. Coal is most typically used in home heating and the running of power plants. Uranium, which is a nuclear fuel, it is naturally occurring element found within the Earth's core. Most uranium deposits occur in small quantities which miners gather, refine and purify. Once gathered, The uranium is brought together and compounded into rods. The rods are then submerged into tanks of water. So, why natural resources are important? Do you know that all over the world people consume resources directly or indirectly? Also, the world economy uses around 60 billion tons of resources each year in order to produce the materials we consume. We consume natural resources mostly in three forms. In the form of food and drink, that includes naturally occurring foods such as vegetables, fish and meat, seeds and nuts, medicines, herbs and plants. They also include drinking water, as well as water for sanitation and household use. And all the materials we see in our everyday life, silverwares like spoons, forks, knives, cans, milk packages, paper and plastic, they are all made from raw materials which come from our natural resources. Other form is transport. This includes automobiles, trains, water vessels, airplanes, together with all the fuel that powers them. We got all the raw materials from nature. Another form is construction and development. All the houses, public places, roads, and constructed objects we have around us. Energy resources that we use in our daily living. So we can conclude that we consume much more resources from our environment daily. The role of natural resources in sustaining life on Earth is extremely important, and we must ensure that we protect the environment and make it easy for it to replenish itself naturally. So, what are the major concerns about the natural resources and why we talk about it and why it is so important? Even though natural resources are the basic support structures of life, too much or too little of it can come with a lot of problems and concerns. What happens when there is too little natural resources available? In many regions of the world, a mix of limited resources, overpopulation, and environmental degradation has produced extreme poverty and income inequality. This has in turn has fueled conflict in society. And what happens when there is too much of natural resources available? This problem is even bigger in regions with excess natural resources. Greed, corruption, and conflict from revenue distribution, resource ownership, decision making, management, and access has fueled local and international conflicts as well. So, what we can do about it and how we can help in conserving our natural resources. To have an environmentally sustainable, secure future where we can still enjoy natural resources, we urgently need to change the way we use these natural resources. We all need to play our role. And how can we do that? Using education and providing public awareness. All stakeholders should provide information and raise public awareness about the wonderful natural resources we have and the need to ensure its health. Once we all understand how useful our natural resources are, they will be better placed to preserve it. Other than that, our responsibilities as a consumer, we need to understand our responsibilities as a consumer. People and organizations in developed nations with high resource consumption rates must be aware of the issues of natural resources. We all need to understand that it is okay to enjoy all the items and gadgets at home, but also give back to the environment by way of reducing waste, recycling waste, and becoming a part of the solution. And what are the government's responsibilities? Governments must enforce policies that protect our environment. So if you have any questions or if you need any help with this tutorial or with the subject, you can text us and email us and we will get back to you. Thank you.